Check one. All right, what's up? Today I'm going to go over the C major scale, major scale positions. In this case, we're going to do them all in C, since that's the easiest, all the white notes on piano. We're going to go over C major scale and all the positions on guitar and how you could think about them. Some people like to call this the CAGED method, which is good. It makes sense. You'll see why. It's up to you. I didn't really remember it like that at first, but I do explain it to people like that now. So let's go over this. So here we are. Start off first. This is a great website, Guitar Scientist. Shout out to those guys. We're going to use this a lot. I use this with my students. You can save them and edit them and bookmark them. So I'll have the links below. But anyways, let's jump into this. So when you first start playing guitar, you're obviously going to hear about these open position chords that you play. Open meaning you use open strings. So the first one we all learn is C major. Right? That's going to be your root. My amp's making weird noises. So there's your root right there, or C major, that's your root. Now, that's what is known as a C major. That's a C shape, is what I call it, a C shape. In this case, on a C chord. This is going to be an A shape, the next one, which happens to be an A chord, A major. So these are all chords you end up learning. G. And notice I went in an acronym. It's CAGED. You know, in this case, it's not really an acronym. I guess it is. C major, A major, G shape. Right? That's this one. Right? And then you have an E major shape. Notice the roots are all a different colors, signifying that's the low note. Right? So, and we basically have spelled the word caged. That's why they call it this. C, A, G, E, and then D. Right? So notice how the E shape, if you just slide this whole shape up one fret, look what you get. You get an F chord. And notice how this chord is just the top half of an E shape. So you notice how you start to move these things. You can slide them. So in other words, if I played, which is an E chord, and then I just slid it up one half step, well, now it's an F chord, F major. So these are the building blocks of guitar. So there's no way around it. You got to learn these. And really it makes everything easier. And once you want to start moving them up, you can refinger them. So this is where a capo would come in handy. So you can essentially refinger them instead of playing it like this for an open position. Here, let's get the little fretboard in there. You can refinger it like this, pinky, you know, and then look at, you're going to play these open strings, which this is the nut. So as soon as you start moving up, you got to compensate for not playing those. So that's where the capo comes in. Notice how those are all C shapes, but I'm moving different keys. C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F. But notice how the shape stays constant. Anyways, you can do that with all these chords. So in this case, this C chord has a root on the A string. Right? That's your A string. And then you can also do an A chord for the A string. You can slide that up as well. You can even refinger them like this. It's like classic power chord, and then I just flatten it to get this third. So there's B flat major, B major, C major. So notice how you can play C this way or that way. Look at that. Now if I want to do an E string shape, so my roots are on the E string, anywhere I slide I just got to do the right shape. Let's do an E chord shape. This is known as E shape. There's your F, that's your F again. F sharp, G major. But look at how I'm just sliding. So there's another C, look at that. An E shape though. You can also play G on the E string. G shape. So notice that. And now you can have these different shapes, all can be slid. So you're sliding them all around. So say we do G. This is the harder one to slide. But if you had a capo, most people would put it there, and then you could just rock a G chord, C chord, A chords. But it's just that position. It's the shape. It's not actually an A chord or a G chord, because now it's a C chord. So if I can play C like this, and I could play it 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 like this. Which, look at that, it's a D shape. So if I played a D chord, you gotta refinger them a little bit. And I just slide this root, since that's my low note, all the way up to a C. So that's where these shapes come from. So, when you're looking at this shape, these can all be slid. So these are important to remember. So now if you were to think of all this inside just C, look at what happens. You start to use the same shapes just like I was doing, but you can slide them up. And you still get this caged system, which means that the order of the shapes are always C-A-G-E-D. And once you move keys, they just come out the other end. So the way I like to think about it, essentially, is like a barbershop. You see the barbershop thing. It never really ends. It just comes back out the top or the end. So the shapes are on guitar, caged, right? They're in that order. And as you move keys, you just slide around. Well, you just slide up or down, and if you run out of room, it just comes back up the other end. So you'll start to see they all stay consistent. So because of that, once you learn these shapes, you can just fly over any of these keys. So that's why major scales are important. That's how we talk. So by learning all these have their own scale shapes that go on top of them. These are the chords. And we can talk about chords later, but these are all your positions. Notice how they're exactly the same as these, just in different keys. Instead of an E major E shape, well, now we have a C major E shape. See, look at that. I even titled them. So you can digest all that, and then what happens is each one of these has their own corresponding scales that go with it. Because guitar is unique, there's at least two of every note in a sense. So, most of them, not all of them, but. So, in other words, if I think of these in numbers, this is a cool program because look, you can change it to note names, or you can go to numbers. So if this is my root, C major, notice how this C major has the chord in it. Watch this. Look at that. That shape goes right on top of that corresponding chord shape. So this is known as the C major, C shape. It's a major chord, or a major scale. So if I was to play this, And then you go back down. You can even go beneath it. And then I play the chord. So that's the first shape. It's a 2-octave C major scale. But what's unique about guitar and string instruments is this C is also right there. It's literally the same note. So because of that, you know, if I was playing this chord, well, instead of this D, I could play this D. And then all of a sudden, if you do that with all the other notes, you start getting different positions. And these are basically all the permutations. There's only 6 of them, really. So, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. And I have some connecting shapes, so I say there's 6. So that's the corresponding C scale. Now, if you do that same scale, look at all the notes, they are all the same. Look at that. And if I even do the intervals, look, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now you just are playing an A shape. Look at how that shape is exactly the same as this, which is exactly the same as the A shape, which is this. So see that? You slide it up. If I were to do this in the program, I think you can actually. Let's try it. If I was to slide up this A, whoops. If I was to slide this A chord up to a different key, let's say C, transpose, watch what happens. Look at it, you just slide it. That's literally what I'm doing. Go back down. A shape, A major. A shape, C major. Right? So that's how this works. So if we go here, here's the A shape. We're going to do, it's all C major scale. So that's what it's titled as, C major scale shapes. Now you can extrapolate this to all the keys, 12 different keys. They're all the same shapes, just moved around like I said. And there's that next shape. So let's try this view. If we pull up the guitar, a little MIDI. So let's do that one more time. A shape, C major chord, C major scale. Okay? Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. Just repeats. Now there is this thing that I call, that was this shape right here. There is this thing that I have an in-between shape that I like to use. I call these the wide 3. It's just what I remember in my head. You can read about this. It encompasses the A shape and the G shape, which is next. And notice how this goes in order. C, A, G, caged. E. So C, A, whoops, I'm adding notes. C, A, G, besides these little in-betweens. So you're going to have to excuse those. But see how it just spells it out. And the reason I include these wider ones is because that's where a lot of like guitar-esque things come. Like that kind of stuff is going to be utilizing this kind of movement. So that's why I incorporate it. So if we stay true just to the caged, let's go over those. We'll go over the in-betweens later. So the next shape would be a G shape. And again, we're just copying literally what we did here. All in C, but using the different shapes. It spells out caged. And then you just do their corresponding scale. C to C, 1 to 1, 1 to 8, however you want to think about it. So here's the next one, G shape. Notice how that shape looks exactly the same as this G chord, right? Which was here. Look at that. You can see the similarity. And you see guys do that, like I said, with the capo. So, G shape right here. So we have the 1 right here. And this incorporates a little movement in order to play it faster. You're going to have to do a certain fingering. So let's go over that real quick. So in this one, start on your pinky. It's a G shape. So look at this. If I play a G chord as if I had a capo, that's what you get. There's your G chord. Now notice how this stays the same. Look at that. That's what connects them. It's a very important shape. Second inversion C chord. Starting on the 5th. Anyways, so pinky, I go 4, 1, 3, 4. And now 1, your intuition is to go here with your 3rd finger, but use your 4th finger. And the reason is so that way you can shift it back like that. Look at that. And this has 2 shifts. That same exact shift, you're going to go back and forth though, so watch. Shift back. Shift up. Same thing, look at that. Notice how you end up where you were. These shapes overlap. Pinky, shift. Right? Oh, I messed up. So you want to do that shift. There's 2 of them. There's one here. You do that shift again. Shift up. So that's what's cool about these shifts. If you just keep that. Whoops. There you go, and there's the shape. So that was this one right here. G shape. Now we're going to do the E shape, which is this one. Pretty easy to see. It's an E chord from a C. So it's a C major chord, E shape. This is a true E major chord, E shape. We slide it up to C, since the root's on the low string. There's that C. And you get this. So now notice how that... There's the shape. Now if I play the scale... That's what you get. Now if you want to see my hands... There you go. Now the next one, CAGED, is the D shape. Let's see here. Did I not put the D shape in here? Oh geez, look at it. It's not even in here. Well, it's kind of here. Dang, that sucks. I can't add another fretboard, that's why. Okay. Well, so this is what I'm looking at. The next shape is a D shape. So what you end up seeing is, maybe we'll do it here. So you're going to end up seeing it here. I ran out of fretboards. It doesn't allow you to do enough. So I just realized that the D shape isn't there. So notice that. That's the D shape right there. You see that? And that's kind of encompassing this one right here. So that is the D shape really. So I guess I put it. But what you end up seeing really is you start to see how, watch, if we were to do the D shape in a different color, notice how that's the shape, right? It's kind of inside of it. And what you end up seeing is that that's this one. So see how that kind of triangle looking thing, that's how I remember it. But see how it's there? And then as you repeat and you do the next C major octave, it's the same shape as this first one. Notice how the C shape is right there. 1, 3, 5. So they overlap, really. The D and the C kind of go into each other. So notice how this triangle is right there. See? So they overlap. So this is the next shape. D, and that completes all the cycles, you know, C, A, G, E, D. So this will be our root, C1. So that's the next wide 3, really. So if we go over that. And notice how that's our D shape. So that's it. And now, as you get better at these, you got to remember them corresponding to their shape. Now let's go over this wide 3. This is just an in-between one. So you could do this shape, but you can also do this G shape. But there's just another variation here that you can do. So instead of this 6 here, you can put it here. Instead of that 3 there, you can put the 3 here. So you get this shape. It's just all the permutations. Okay, so this has another shift, but it's pretty logical, I think. You go, same idea. So see how I'm shifting? So see how it can be in between. So that's what that is. So that goes over all the shapes. So if you remember these scales, well, as soon as you start just moving them to different keys, you're just going to be sliding them up and down, depending on what key you're in. And this starts the foundation of guitar. So when someone says, "Hey, we're in C major," this is what I see. Potentially, right? I know all these notes are in the key. Now it looks like a lot, but it's really just a combination of all these. Over time, you're going to get good at it. You're going to remember them. And so that's what you end up seeing. So what's unique about guitar, like I said, is there's the same note a couple times. So what you end up getting is repeated notes. So this makes all the different positions. So if you were to write these all out, that low note is a C. So watch. Oh God, come on. So that low note is a C. But notice I can do that here. It's the same exact scale, written exactly the same way, played in 2 different ways. So you can play them in, technically, what did we say, 6 different ways. So that's what's happening here. And as you move the keys, you know, like I said, if you move this, you start to transpose them. Just like the capo, you can slide these around and they move. So because the number isn't on C, these numbers aren't representing the true what it would be. So let's look at note names to make it easier. So notice the different sharps, right? And there's some different flats if you enharmonically spell them. So you get these. You can slide them up. That's the whole point of this. So these shapes are movable, and that's the foundation of guitar. I mean, that's really how you end up moving. So this is going to help you just know what to play when you're in a certain key. So if we're playing an E, look at that's an A shape E chord. That's just an E major scale. So that's me playing a blues line over it. I'm flattening some stuff and changing it up a little bit. But if I stay just in major, you know. So there's C, E shape, G shape, E shape, D shape. It's really high up, but you can do it here. Remember how I said it comes out the end. So that's how we're thinking about these things. And so when I'm playing in a certain key, I can think of where to go. And in terms of chords, the way that the chords work are basically notes stacked on top of each other. So let's take, for example, right here. If we look at the staff, if I stack every other one up, 1, 3, 5, they say 2, 4, 6, you know, in the scale. If I'm thinking just let's see, let's go back here. If I'm thinking scale wise up here, And I do this back in numbers. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Well, a chord is literally every other one. 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6, 3, 5, 7, so on and so forth. And look at what happens when you do this. It creates harmony. So if I take the first note in the scale, the 1, put the 3, then the 5. I use all the same notes. 2, 4, 6. Notice the sound. Whoops. Oh, we messed up. So 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 8, 5, 7, 9, or 2, 6, 8, 10, 7, 9, 11. And then it just repeats. So notice that. That's what harmony is. I stay inside the key, all the same notes, no sharps or flats. So the way these are built, these triads, are not very guitar-esque. So that's something else. And there you go. So those are all the chords. I'm playing the harmony of the major scale. And that's another video. So anyways. Let's see, what else am I forgetting here? So use this website, Guitar Scientist. It's great. Just remember these scale shapes, these positions. That's how I think of them. And you just move them in all 12 keys, and you'll get better at it. And you start to see the whole fretboard. So hopefully that helps you guys. Let's see. In terms of chords, if you want to go to the website, my website up here, you end up seeing, well, there's 2 different websites I guess you can go to. LuisValenzuela.com, or you can go to Electric Louis Land. I'll end up putting them on each. But right here, you go to lesson PDFs, and these have all these chord charts. So one of my biggest pet peeves, if you ever see, I've seen this in books that are published. If you ever see chords like this, it's incorrect. It's stupid. That's not how you look at the fretboard. You look at it like this, just like we do when we see our fretboard. Load string here, not on the left, A, and then go up higher. So you can print these out. I made these a long time ago. This is how you see guitar, low string, high string. This is how you can write them out. You can try and figure this out if you want. It's a good chart. Scale chart, basically I used to do this before I found Guitar Scientist. Some staff paper. Anyways, as you look at chords, they're built on top of the key you're in, so the major scales. So like I said, these shapes are important. They're going to be everywhere. This is how you get more complex chords, or from these shapes. That'll be in a different video. I'll talk about different chord qualities and how to get them. I hope this helps. Let me know what you guys think, and happy guitar playing. So enjoy, and comment. Let me know what you guys think, and be sure to follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. Follow the social medias. But I hope that helps you guys. Later.